Hello everybody, huge leak from Capcom today. Mostly 350,000 employees have lost their data. As in, their personal data got compromised, which isn't a nice thing, but it also revealed the projects that Capcom were working on. And there's a tiny bit of news to do with Resident Evil Village, which is the next Resident Evil game. I am finding it very interesting that in the leaked data, they do not show a PC version, only PS5 and possibly PS4. I am gonna assume that it's probably gonna be a timed exclusive. They stated that it's gonna come out in late April 2021. Well, the leaked data did. But the thing that kind of worries me, and the reason why I'm making this video to begin with, is offline edition, Resident Evil Village, plus online edition, codenamed Dominion. Meaning they're not planning just making a single player game. They're planning to also have a multiplayer game. Now, we don't know what kind. There has been a speculation that it's gonna be Battle Royale, which, if that's the way that they're gonna go, that's a really bad idea right now. Battle Royales are just not doing too great, so to see Capcom jump on that ship, that would just be, no. Now, the reason why I'm a bit worried about this is because Resident Evil 3 has done the exact same thing, where they released Resident Evil 3, and then they also released like this tiny Resident Evil Resistance multiplayer game. And if you scroll through reviews, there's a lot of more negative reviews on Resident Evil 3 than there is on Resident Evil 2, mostly because Resident Evil 3 felt too short. It felt a lot shorter than what Resident Evil 2 was, and it is also priced higher. Reasoning behind this was that, well, it is releasing with a multiplayer mode, but that multiplayer mode was kind of dead on arrival because nobody's buying Resident Evil to play multiplayer, they're buying Resident Evil to play single player. So if you look at negative reviews, there's things like good chunk of story mode cut out from the original Resident Evil 3 to focus on the dead on arrival multiplayer mode. There's a lot of this going around, a lot of people just like mentioning that the game felt too short, that the game was too short, or that they don't like the fact that Capcom has focused on the multiplayer mode. And if the leak rings true, then Capcom has learned nothing from this, and they're releasing their new games with a multiplayer mode incentive, which is not something that their fan base wants or likes, because once again, people ain't buying Resident Evil games for their excellent multiplayer modes. So, my worry here remains is that they're gonna release a single player that's gonna be short. Instead of releasing a fully fleshed out single player, because they have decided to focus half of the attention that the single player would have gotten on a multiplayer mode. That being said, not on a platform that I own, and I don't kind of like the vibe of it to begin with. Like, I liked Resident Evil 4, but it's giving me Resident Evil 7 vibes, which, it felt like they entered a different genre yet again. This is like super new for them. They like reinventing themselves with these games. And I mean, we're still in horror, but it's no longer like zombie driven horror. It's witchcraft? Question mark? I don't know what they're doing with it. So it's not really that appealing to me to begin with. It's just that why are you tacking on multiplayer to this? I do not understand. But that is all the news that I have for you folks today. The leak wasn't like super big. It's like 2 screenshots worth. There's a lot of articles floating around it, but it's 2 screenshots worth. I mean, unless you want to hear about all of the poor workers that got their data compromised, which is the sad thing, that is kinda all that I have for you today, folks. So thank you for watching. I tend to cover gaming news every single day. Sometimes it's tabletop news, And if you like my content, please subscribe, and toodaloo.